In Parshat Ki Tavo, Moshe says to the Israelites that Hashem will establish you to Him as a holy nation if you guard His commandments, v'halachta bidrachav, and you walk in His ways. This is not the first time that the Torah has mentioned this concept of walking in God's ways. In another place it says, Acharei Hashem Elokeichem telechu, you shall walk after God. What does it mean to walk in the ways of God? And the Talmud explains, Mahu rachum, afatah hiyeh rachum. Just as God is compassionate, you should be compassionate. Mahu chanun, just like He is gracious, so you should be gracious. You should imitate God. Well, as the Talmud says in another place, Hevei domeh lo. You must act in a godly way. And the Rambam, Maimonides, speaks about this in the beginning of his great work, Mishnah Torah. He speaks about what is the correct path to go in life. And he says that one should never go for the extremes. One should be balanced. But in particular, one should follow the wonderful character traits of God. But the Talmud goes a step further. And it says that we have to look through the Torah and see how Hashem acted to people with kindness. And we have to do likewise. So, for example, the beginning of the Torah tells us that after Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve realized that they were naked, that there was shame in being naked, God made them clothing. There was no such concept of clothing before. He made them clothing. So just as He clothed the naked, you should clothe the naked. Then we read later on in Parshat Vayera, after Avraham had his Brit Milah, his circumcision, he was an old man, he had to do it himself, it was very painful. God came to visit him. He was Mevaker Chole. He came to visit a sick person. So too should you visit the sick. When Abraham passed away, the Torah says that God came to Yitzhak, to Abraham's son, and He blessed him. What does it mean He blessed him? He paid him a shiva call. He consoled him. He had just lost his father, and he came to pay a shiva visit. So just as God is Nacham Menachem Avelim, just as God comforts the mourners, so too should you comfort the mourners. And how does the Torah end? It speaks about the death of Moshe. And for various reasons, which is a different topic, God didn't want anybody to know where Moshe was buried. So who was going to do the burial? God did it Himself. So just as God buries the dead, you should bury the dead. In other words, what we're saying over here is there are mitzvot that Hashem commands us to do, but then there are mitzvot, or there are acts or good deeds that by doing them, we are actually imitating God. We are trying to reach up to a godly level, to act in a way of kindness and graciousness and caring. So not just about what's doing right. It's not just about what society says is moral and correct, but it's actually becoming a godly person and following God in each and every way. V'halachta bidrachav, I shall walk in His ways. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.